bete sig som om vi skulle ha ett rött band här, så är det officiellt nu som vi klipper det och inviger European Social Forum i Malmö. Välkomna hit, otroligt mycket! Det här är den officiella invigningen. Vi kommer höra tal, vi kommer höra musik, vi kommer förhoppningsvis avsluta kvällen med att dansa och festa inför alla de här dagarna som vi ska gå på seminarier och allt möjligt.
When I went to the second World Social Forum in Porto Alegre, and I've been to many international meetings in my life, the one thing that struck me right away when I looked at the program was that there was a kind of dialectical interaction between the local, the regional, and the global. I've never gone to an international conference which had this kind of interaction between these three levels of problems and challenges and issues.
A little bit of a background to this idea that I have, about which I'm now writing a book. In 2004, I was invited by a bunch of students to be part of a panel on globalization, and the panel met before, a few days before, to sort of decide what we were going to say. So somebody said, you know, I'm going to argue that globalization is wonderful, it's very desirable. And somebody else said, I'm going to argue that it's terrible, it's wreaking great havoc in the world. And a third person said, well, I'm going to argue that whether you like it or not, it's happening. And so I was the fourth person, so I said, well, I'm going to argue that it's over.
And what interests me most in this, actually, is the strain of Marxism or strain of communist theory it represents that poses the goal of working class struggle not as the affirmation of the working class and celebration of the working class, but rather as the abolition of the working class. Like this is a strain within Marxist thought and within certain parts of Marxism, but it differentiates that the goal is not only the abolition of the state and the abolition of capital, but the abolition of the worker itself, and the abolition of the working class, so that the goal is a struggle against work.
We don't have hopes anymore. I think there are two kinds of societies which have relinquished hope: the hopelessly poor and the hopelessly rich. I mean, think about that. What are we hoping for in this part of the world? Nothing. You know? But they have hope because they've got hopes for themselves and for their children, because they come from scarcity. They come from countries like Mexico, Venezuela, and so on, where there is scarcity, where they know that. I mean, you can't take a lot of things you can't take for granted.